How to enslave wild hogs. Restrict movement and holdings, strip away property and rights, create dependency on government, control the news. This is a story about you. Once upon a time there was a great river. It flowed freely through a vast expanse, dividing the land into two parts. To the right grew many different types of trees, all sizes, fragrances, and shapes, isolated and grouped amongst flowering fields and glistening pools. At all times of the year variety flourished. The lofty land to the left resisted the mighty river. The rocky soil prevented deep roots from taking hold. Plants struggled to grow over the scorched earth, even along the water's edge. A mighty elephant named Julia lived within the fields of green, abundant in hope and desire. She dreamed herself a beautiful unicorn. With her lived a giant forest hog. He was very formal and would only give his last name, Mueller. Julia danced and played in the fields, while Mueller patiently harvested the flowers and held the forests at bay. Although keeping their distance, together they enjoyed the abundance granted by the steady river, one calculating against the bushes, the other frolicking without care. In the arid lands to the left, to the far left, a cave housed a peculiar little creature. It was both slothful and quick, preferring the darkness but bathed in the light. The creature never gave its name, staying near to its home, fearing the great boar. Julia called it Lieb for the squeaks it would make. Never seen in the light, others with Lieb came from their hilly places to party all night. While Julia continued to prance in the flowering fields and Mueller sharpened his tusks, Lieb went to the water's edge and witnessed debris from the festivals resisting the mighty river's flow. He ordered others of his kind to push more and more into the flow. Mueller objected, warning Lieb to stay back, but Julia cautioned tolerance, giving a slight nod of approval to Lieb's attempt at art. "Look how much you have," Lieb shot back. "My trees wither and die, while you tear yours out by the root." "See what has happened? The river broke free," Mueller protested. Lieb continued to watch as Julia heralded tolerance, mixed in with her dance. To his delight, he saw the great forest hog pushed back. The river's strength revealed a weakness. "Will you stop your dancing? That weasel is taking our land." But even as their freshwater ponds became cloudy from the invading stream, Julia noted calmly, "It was never our land. The weasel brings something new for us to enjoy." Seeing the flood contained in the south, with a huff, Mueller continued tending the trees in the north. Glee burst from Lieb as the great river darkened at its source. With great effort the others were organized. Digging through the rocky hills, a pathway was formed. A great bridge was constructed, something never before tried. Keeping his distance, Lieb beckoned Julia to pass over to his side. Julia ran to Mueller to share the good news. "Our land has grown crowded, and Lieb's people have built a bridge for us to pass over." But Mueller did not give notice. "But he cleans as you demanded," Julia pressed on. "Look," Julia pleaded, "they have a pond full of clean water." "Welcome, Julia," Lieb yelled. "Please ignore that ugly wall. It is just temporary as we clean up the earth." "Mueller, come over," Julia continued to beg. "You grow weak, and they will provide all that is needed to bring back your strength." Seeing Julia fattened and refreshed by all that Lieb provided, Mueller reluctantly gave in to Lieb's offer of friendship. "Don't mind the new wall," Lieb squeaked from the safety of his cave. "The children cheer your arrival. See all their etchings? For you they have drawn." "They're beautiful," Julia approved, even though the markings were difficult to reason, seemingly random and pointless, with no noticeable design. "Look at their art," she urged to Mueller, busy eating and drinking all that he could. As the days passed, the food and pond were moved south by Lieb and his team of still unseen friends. "Don't mind that new wall," Lieb assured Mueller. "Nothing to see there. The children's wall was unstable," Lieb gestured warmly, clutching his heart. "It means so much to the children." "That corner wall there is to protect you from the soft ground. The old pond left," Lieb explained. "That's why it was moved, to protect you, that's all." After Mueller entered and began to feed, Lieb ran out from the cave to close the gate, locking them in. "Stay here for the night," Lieb insisted. "Tomorrow I have a surprise for you both." Julia gave a short performance to thank Lieb for his kindness, while Mueller examined the wall, quietly noting, "This wood came from our land." Each night the rats plundered the other side of the once great river, the crossing bridge long since collapsed. Each morning Lieb repeated his promise. "Just a little longer. You will be so surprised. It is worth the wait. You will see. Soon enough, you will see." Unable to break through the rubble from the old stone bridge, the great river no longer refreshed the land to the east. It began to drain as the rats indulged on all they could. Through the years, the many years, Mueller grew weaker. Nothing to do but dream of what was, what could be remembered. Still controlled by emotion, Julia tried to dance, but her visions were dampened. Each performance diminished with every splash and slip in the growing filth. With their food source barely sustaining them, a small fox visits more often, bringing scraps of food, whatever can be found. He tries to encourage Mueller. You can break free. You don't have to accept this. But Mueller hung his head low. Lieb warns us of new dangers. We hear them fighting at night. I am not strong enough to contend with what is out there. He lies, the fox cried. Lieb keeps you here while he and his people fight over your lands. Mueller turned to Julia. Stop pretending to be someone else. Your tolerance brought us here. Your remaining strength will free us both. With the small fox that grew into a powerful friend behind him, and the strength of Julia at his side, Mueller found the strength to drive the rats back into their cave. Julia began rolling and slithering through a patch of clean sand, with the filth of captivity falling away. Look at all this beautiful sand, she announced with delight. Leaping up, she kicked and kicked. Running and kicking, she began another dance. What else could be expected from someone with that much hope, Mueller muttered, while following the fox to the far right, a place where he discovered the great river still flowed. Each character in the story represents a fragment of reality. The great river is the U.S. Constitution, a gift unappreciated and under constant attack. The diverse forest to the right represents capitalism. Follow your interests and find a comfortable place. The sand and mountains to the left reveal the common misery and confinement of socialism. Republicans are calculating bores. Reasoning is based mostly on facts and figures alone. Democrats are full of hope and charity, tending to lose themselves in the fantasies of desire, visions of what could be. Behind legislation and manufactured conflict hides all the scurrying agents of the federal government. The debris in and deviation to the river, along with the swampy grounds, represents the concept of a living constitution. Every time you hear this term, shout, "No! The Constitution is carved in stone." Those that want to change us need the Constitution to be malleable, weak, and interpreted document. The rotten buildings are the few times the Constitution was changed, failed battles they represent. Interpretations and fictional social concerns litter the issues, launching endless constitutional challenges and corruptions. Legislation builds paths and bridges around the Constitution. The document is under heavy attack because it prevents enslavement of the people. Those seeking its destruction have worked their way into government at all levels. War through occupation. Growing regulations choke off choice and diversity. Our rights are being incinerated. All things from government come with a hefty price that is never disclosed. An oasis of treasures awaits you. Just give us all you have, and wait a moment more. Entertainment services and news media outlets build walls around us, distorting truth, hiding us from reality. We only know what they are willing to show, and are already enslaved. The gate is controlled by the rat. Government controls the media through a variety of means. Executive orders are very dangerous. They restrict our rights, damming up the Constitution. No matter how bad things get, there's always hope. Freedom, once tasted, is a difficult thing to exterminate. Tombstones are easily ignored, but remind us of all those who died to keep us free. The fox and the wolves represent all those that continue to fight for freedom. Hopefully, they will keep reminding Democrats and Republicans that they are on the same side.